Now, if you saw the last video where I described how you can set up Git and GitHub and fork the classic thesis template, and maybe you think, well, that's too much work for my bachelor or master thesis. I just want some online editor like Overleaf. So I really recommend you don't do that, but I want to explain why. So Overleaf is a nice collaborative online editor which has a free and a costly version. So for example, you can look for a template. So for example, you want to make an Emise template. You can find it here, open it as a template, and then you can edit that, invite collaborators and so on, which is really nice for people, especially if you collaborate with people who don't really are experts with Git and with LaTeX and so on. So maybe if you're new to Git and to LaTeX, maybe you think, well, that's quite tempting. So I think for like posters or like small presentations or small papers, I think this is really nice, but it's not really good for your thesis, and I will explain why. So while you can take, for example, the original classic thesis style, if you are not at the Emise Institute, then you can use it for your PhD, bachelor or master thesis, or of course you can use ours if you are at Emise, so all the institute specific stuff is pre-filled. But if we open this one, it's already dozens of pages, right? And over the last year, so you may not know it if you have been using Overleaf for a long time, is that there's quite a strict compile limit in the free version. And I think the not free version is like €80 per year for students and 180 for not students. And I mean, you're also dependent then on them not changing stuff, right? So here you already see the compile timed out. So you have to pay money. Even if you're okay with paying money, another problem is that many students don't really look at the logs, so there are errors and warnings, and I mean, they are presented quite well, but for some reason, many students, they somehow don't look there, and they send me their thesis and there are like a lot of errors and everything is broken. So I think if you're on the terminal and you run LaTeX and it just like gives an error and stops, you will notice it. But Overleaf will just output a document anyways, and somehow people often miss the errors and warnings. So this is another thing why I don't recommend it. And also I think if you have an editor, I mean, you can also use a graphical editor or something. I think because you will use so many hours to write your thesis, I think it's just worth it in the long run to just get some editor that's more comfortable than a web editor. But I mean, if you're dead set on really using this online editor, you're never working offline and you trust here the Overleaf that it doesn't like stop offering their service mid-thesis or something. And then at least you should heavily reconsider at least using a Git repository. So I will show you how this works. There's integrations, GitHub, and then you can link it to a Git repository, and then you should always at least daily make a commit here. So here it's just not set up yet. Let's show you a project where this is set up already. So for example, here is a paper which we did together with people who normally use Word and so on. And even here it was a problem because the free version doesn't support enough authors, I think. But if you have set up the sync version, then you have to remind all the collaborators, or I mean, of course, in this case, in your thesis, it's only yourself. So if you have the paid version, so you don't run into the compile limit, then you have to at least daily push Overleaf changes to GitHub. So you have some kind of backup. And if Overleaf like makes their stuff more expensive or breaks down tomorrow, you still have your thesis somewhere else, right? And if you sometimes work on a laptop where you don't have Overleaf and then you just use Git there, you can also sync it. So yeah, if you don't listen to my advice and you insist on using Overleaf, then at least set up GitHub sync and always push and pull, and don't skip those errors and warnings, especially if it's red. If there are errors, there's something seriously broken. But yeah, that's my opinion on Overleaf. If you have another opinion, feel free to share it in the comments.